Showtime! The Capital G Show starts right now.
What's up YouTube, Capital G here. So guys, we now have some more interesting news because we know of yet another TCG exclusive for Light of Destruction. It's called XYZ Encore, and this card, let me just tell you, is flat out amazing. And I hope I'm not overselling it because I'm really excited about this card. I think that this is going to be one of the chase cards for the set. I really think that somewhere in this card's lifetime, it's going to be like a $60 card, and I'll explain soon. It's a quick play spell card. The effect is target one face-up Xyz Monster your opponent controls that has Xyz Materials. Detach all Xyz Materials from it, and if you do, return it to the extra deck. Then, if there is a monster card in your graveyard or in the graveyard among the detached Xyz Materials, special summon as many of those monsters as possible from the graveyard to your opponent's side of the field in face-up defense position. Their levels are reduced by 1 on the field. Cards and effects cannot be activated in response to this card's activation. So basically, in layman's terms, if your opponent has a face-up Xyz, you activate XYZ Encore, you basically evac it back to the extra deck, the materials fall off, they get special summoned back to the field and face up defense position, except their levels are reduced by 1. So it pretty much goes without saying, I think that this card is really damn good. I'm not certain that it should be used in the main deck because I don't think that it's quite as versatile as a card like Compose Evacuation Device. Not only does Compose, stop attacks, and it could be used on face up or face down monsters, but it could be used on your monsters too, and of course non-Xyz monsters like Synchros and stuff like that. But coming out of the sideboard, this card is flat out good shit. First off, it disrupts any TXC plays. Not only does it spot on get rid of the Xyz that your opponent summons, but yes, they get their monsters back, but they go in defense mode, so they can't exactly push in for any damage sitting in defense mode. And if you're playing against a deck like Dragon Rulers or EVILSWARMs where they have key Xyzs that they want to make, cards like Big Eye, Draco's Sack, or EVILSWARM Ophion, the monsters come back with reduced levels, so your opponent cannot drop the same Xyz on you. And when you play against decks like that, where almost all of the Xyzs in their extra deck are the same rank, it's going to be a pain in the ass because now you're sitting on 2 monsters on the field that can attack, and you probably don't have a bunch of lower level Xyzs, so it's like, what are you just going to do? I also think that this is the anti-lockdown card that we've been waiting since, hell, Dino Rabbit basically became a deck. Powerful lockdown Xyz monsters like DOLKKA, LAGGIA, Ophion, they can't sit on the field hiding behind their Virus or Solemn or Lance cards for protection anymore because it says right in the text of XYZ Encore, cards and effects cannot be activated in response to this card's activation, meaning that all you have to do is activate XYZ Encore, target their face-up Xyz Monster, and it gets bounced back to the extra deck. Your opponent just gets 2 crappy monsters, and you can run those over relatively easy. I think that Ophion and EVILSWARM decks alike are going to have some huge problems with this card, and even somehow if your opponent can stop you from running over their monsters, which again are going to be in defense mode, so they're going to be really easy to run over, they can't drop the same Xyz, so they're facing 2 problems right there. So overall, I think that XYZ Encore is going to be huge. I think that this has potential to be one of those semi-meta defining cards, like one of those cards that we see a whole bunch of decks are going to be using in the side decks. And in a deck like Dragon Rulers, if that deck is still around and still relatively powerful in next formats, I think that every single player out there is going to be siding 3 of these against EVILSWARM because it is basically an instant out to Ophion. You can't use Pandemic Virus. You can't use Solemn Judgment. It doesn't really matter. It's a quick answer to Ophion, and once you get Ophion on board, you basically win. And had this card been out, in previous formats, it's pretty much a given in my book that decks like Insectors and Windups would have definitely sided this against Dino Rabbit so that they could deal with DOLKKA and LAGGIA. They would have made those cards kind of like non-issues. So let me know what you guys think. Hopefully, if you go to the sneak peek, you pull one of these. Thank you for watching, and take care. Subscribing makes life happy.